And welcome back to another episode of Happier Hour. I'm your host, Grayson. This is the first ever live streamed podcast episode. Should be episode 13. You guys can't see it on the podcast, but I have my phone just right there, and I also have my beloved dear child right there next to the lightning bolt. Miso's making an appearance. Hi, baby. Meow, meow. She doesn't want to speak today. She has gone fully mute. So the purpose of this podcast episode, I'm going to be answering questions from this TikTok live and discussing the topics that they want me to do, and also talk about my life. Give a little general update. This episode is not going to be anything fantastic, anything pleasant or surprising. I'm just gonna sit and yap like I typically do. For those of you who are on the TikTok live stream, if you want, my YouTube is Happier Hour, the Happier Hour podcast with Grace and Joselle. If you guys want to look me up, you can. I give dating advice. I talk about bad dating stories, breakup advice, stuff like that about once a month. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. My sister wants to come on the podcast, and we're going to do that in September. I don't know why I'm giving you an update right now because that's not going to happen for another 5 months. But hey, lest we forget. That will happen eventually. She will probably be my first guest on the podcast. We're gonna talk about everything. One thing she wants you guys to understand, which I'm pretty sure you guys already do, but she doesn't understand, or she doesn't think you guys understand. I don't edit this at all. I literally just hit start and stop, and then that's the entire podcast. I just sit here and speak for an hour, let all these thoughts just get out and keep going. So here's first question I can answer from the TikTok live. What's my relationship with my sister like? So for those of you who don't know, I have two older sisters. Um, I love them both dearly. I FaceTime my entire family once a week on Sundays. And it's a good time. I lived with my middle sister Haley for about 8 months. I gave a groomsman speech at both of their weddings. I got a standing ovation at both of them. Not trying to brag. I am a bit of a speech writer. I love doing it. And I lived with Haley for about 8 months. Her and my now brother-in-law Woodrow. Um, th- they hated living with me. Straight up, I was looking for a job. Okay, I was looking for a job. Also, I should say that this beverage is spiked. And I'm not trying to get the live canceled out here, but the beverage is spiked with something that unevens the blood alcohol level. So I will be stumbling, mumbling over words. I will be, trying my best to keep from stuttering and rephrasing and laughing and stuff. But this is let's just say this isn't necessarily a beverage with the typical substance that I have in it. This is I can't say specific things on the live, otherwise it's gonna get taken down. It has um it has it's let's say this, it's a green beverage. It's a green beverage. It would be, let's say this, it would be legal in Colorado. It was PR that I got from somewhere, and it's free. It was free. It's drinkable. Um it would be legal in Colorado. Let's just say that. Let's just say I do miss the all women band of THC. Oh, my fault. TLC. I mispronounced that. Let's just say that I miss them quite a bit. And anyways, nevertheless, I'm going to be enjoying this. I'm going to be enjoying this beverage. It's green juice. This is healthy green juice. It's for my stomach. So I lived with my sister for about, another thing. I get off topic very often. Okay. So I lived with my sister for about 8 months. She hated living with me. I didn't have a job. I was spending this time looking for a job the entire time, so it didn't really work out in my favor. It took me 8 months, obviously. Also, for the beginning part of this, I was sobering up. For those of you who don't know, got a bit of a drinking problem. Which, shout out to the Colorado friendly beverage. Different, uh, different factors at play here. Okay, different factors at play here. Um, and so, nevertheless, let's keep going. So I lived with her for about about 8 months. I lived with her for about 8 months. I never did the dishes. I was a bad roommate. If you're a roommate, if you're gonna be a contributing roommate, you have to do the dishes. I never did them. I never decided to do them. And so my sister and my brother-in-law would come home from their 9 to 5, having a rough day, tough day, expecting to see the sink, a barren sink, right? Nothing in the sink, maybe a little bit of water from somebody who did the dishes previously during the day, and I never did. So they would come home already not feeling great, and then I would, you know, just kind of make their day worse, literally every day for 8 months. So naturally they didn't enjoy living with me. But and this is what I said in the groomsman speech. Clearly, dirty dishes must not matter that much because they asked me to give a speech at their wedding. Somebody asked me for my thoughts on Colorado. I will say this, and here's a little fun story time. I went to Denver, Colorado for New Year's of 2022. So it was going from 2022 to 2023. I was visiting two of my buddies there. Shout out to Wyatt in Harrison. Wyatt no longer lives there. He moved to uh, South Dakota because that's a bustling part of town. I'm pretty sure he listens to the podcast too. I hope you're having a good time. I hope you're finding a lot of fun out there. I would imagine there's a lot of weddings that happen in South Dakota where there's conflicting bloodlines. I would imagine you have to get some doctoral approval for those vows prior to delivering them. Nevertheless, let's keep going. So I went to Denver, Colorado for New Year's. I was expecting to have a good time. I was chatting up the Shoddy Bay. One girl that I knew that was gonna be in Denver during the time. Anyways, hi Miso. You want to come on my lap right here? Come here, baby. Oops. Yeah, lay down. Miso is joining. She is sitting on my lap as she does throughout the day while I'm working. That felt like a fun side, a tidbit. One thing about me, I enjoy. It's fun to do tidbits, little bits. Perhaps this beverage is starting to influence me to go under the influence, perchance. And so I went to Denver, Colorado for New Year's. We had a good time. We went out to a couple of bars. It happens to the best of us. I got a little too tipsy prior to the midnight countdown. Prior to, planting a little smooch on a shoddy bay at the strike of midnight on the clock. Got a little too tipsy. I may or may not have been kicked out of a bar by like 10:30 on New Year's Eve. But to be fair, it was not my fault. It was not my fault, and I will die on this hill because let me tell you something. This bar served their drinks in a bucket, in a rustic bucket, something you would see off Pinterest for a wedding that happens in the Midwest. You guys get what I'm saying, okay? A metallic bucket, all right? Serve their drinks in a metallic bucket filled with ice. We got a couple of beverages, couple of beer skis delivered to the table, okay? The table next to us, also not our table next to us also had a bucket on their table. I had my beverage. Actually, no, that's not even true. Let me stop myself before I get too far into this story. Somebody walked up to me and handed me a vodka Red Bull, and I don't drink those. I've never been a fan. And somebody walked up to me. To be honest, I don't remember if it was a friend or a foe or a completely random. But I don't remember who gave me the drink. And so I was like, I'm not gonna drink this. I'm not gonna drink this. I don't know its origins. I don't know where it came from. And so what I did, the table next to us, they left. So they have a barren bucket, right? They have a barren bucket just sitting on their table, taking up real estate. There's just ice in there. It's just ice. It's just ice. So what I do is I dump the vodka Red Bull into the bucket that's next to our table that's just full of ice, nothing else in it, right? All of a sudden, bouncer comes sprinting over to me and he starts like yelling at me, cursing at me. And don't get me wrong, I'm already clearly had a couple of beverages tossed back at this point. I was not fully there mentally. And so this bouncer just comes up to me sprinting, like literally running at me and like screaming at me. He was like, what did you put in their drinks, all this stuff. And I was like, dude, what are you I was just throwing away the drink that I got. I don't even know who it came from. And so he's yelling at me. He's threatening to throw me out. And I'm like, dude, literally, I'll leave. Like, I don't know what you're doing. This is like embarrassing. Mind you, we're at a table. My friends invited their friends, so this is their first impression of me. They think that I'm like trying to steal somebody's drink, because that's what eventually the bouncer was like, well, you were stealing their drinks. I was like, there's nobody here. They left. The bucket's empty. What am I stealing? Except what am I stealing except nothing but a good vibe? And you're over here harshing that. You're harshing that vibe that I'm trying to do. That I'm trying to just have a good time, right? I'm trying to make it to midnight. This is an uphill battle. I feel like my grandpa. This is a hike to and from school, 10 miles uphill both ways, covered in snow. And so he's screaming at me, threatening to throw me out. Eventually, I'm just like, all right, dude, I'll leave. Like, I'm going to get up and go. Like, you're scaring me. And so I leave the bar, and then the owner comes out. No, not the owner. The same bouncer that was screaming at me walks out with me. My friend joined me because he was like, well, you don't know how to get home. You don't know where we live. And I was like, well, I'll take an Uber home. And he was like, no, it's fine. It's not a big deal. So I already feel bad. My friend's leaving the bar with me. It's 10:30. I know that I am, a little tossed, but not to the point where like I should be getting kicked out. Because this is not, I don't get kicked out of places. Okay. I'm very, very mellow. I'm very marsh in the sense that I'm mellow, right? And so as soon as we get outside, the bouncer, I don't know if it was the cold Colorado air or the fact that he just was no longer on his high horse, but he immediately was just like, hey man, I'm sorry about that. I don't mean to scream at you. I'm just trying to do my job. I'm just trying to protect the people in there. And I'm literally like, dude, a little bit of pee came out. I'm already terrified. I'm already scared. I just want to go home. I don't know you. I don't know the beef and problem that you had with me while I was in there. I didn't do anything. I just dumped the drink that I didn't want, that somebody handed to me. Nevertheless, I hop in an Uber. I go home. I throw up in my friend's shower. I'm asleep by 10:45. Cry myself to sleep, as people do. Here's why I shed a tear that night. Not because I didn't receive a smooch, but because I thought I ruined and embarrassed. I thought I ruined my friend's night who came with me, and I thought I embarrassed my friends in front of their friends. That was my interpretation of how the night went, which is why I shed the tears, because I was like, oh my god, my friends probably hate me. And then the next day they were like, who cares, And somebody said, not the subtle throw up in my friend's shower. Yeah, but you got to understand, all right? He told me earlier in the day that for some reason people just throw up in a shower. So if anything, I was completing the bit. Right? If anything, I was doing my God-given right of completing the bit for the purpose of, you know me. I'm a jester. I have a jester tattoo on my thigh because I'm a slut. Case in point, several tattoos on my thigh because I'm a slut. And so I'm doing my due diligence. Okay, doing my due diligence of completing the bit. And so that's my story about Denver, Colorado. Do you guys have any other questions for me in the chat? I would like to say also, you guys in the comments are being way too nice to me. You gotta dial it back. Instead of encouraging me and saying all the things that you appreciate about the podcast, tell me what you hate. Pinpoint one thing about my looks that you hate this episode. Don't give me any praise. I want you guys to make fun of me. How am I feeling about moving to a new city in a few months? See, now what you're trying to do is to get me to tear up a little bit, because here's the problem with that. So when I moved to Philadelphia, and don't tell my friends I said this, because I don't want them to know that I have a soft spot for them. I gotta keep up this appearance of stoicism to them. Okay. I got so lucky when I moved to Philadelphia, right? I met my friends. I met one of them through Hinge. My Hinge, when I set it up when I first moved here, was very friendly. You could tell that I was just looking for friends. I wasn't looking to date. I wasn't looking, although I did go on some dates. I did splurge a little bit. Not physically. I went on dates. Had a good time. Okay? Is it illegal to have a good time? I don't think so. If anything, I was fulfilling my duty on the app of going on a date. Okay. I don't think I should be thrown in jail if I went on a date on Hinge. But I met one of my friends on there. It was so evident that I needed friends desperately that she said, "I can tell you really need friends. Do you want to hang I can tell you really need friends. Do you want to hang out with me and my friend group?" And I said, "Yes, please." I said, "Yes." I said, "Yes, please. Can I have some more, sir?" I said, "Yes, please, ma'am. Can I have some more, sir?" and so, and so, I hung out with them at a place in Philadelphia downtown called Oscar's Tavern. Excellent bar. I don't know if we've been back there since. I'm pretty sure they have a one bathroom. They only have one bathroom, which for me as somebody with IBS, as a IBS soldier, okay, somebody who has IBS, I'm army crawling. I'm army crawling through the public bathrooms every day. Okay, I'm crawling under the stalls, not stalls that are populated with somebody already sitting. I'm crawling my way through the bathroom because you know how it gets. Sometimes when nature calls, and for me, boy, nature's got me on speed dial. Let me tell you, literally anything I eat within a couple of minutes, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it like it's a P90X workout. That's how bad it is on my body. I don't even remember where I was going with this point. Um, I have IBS. Oh, the bathroom at Oscars. There's only one. Okay, there's only one. Somebody asked me if I have IBS or anxiety. Let me tell you something. We got a 2-for-1 deal, folks. Okay, if you call in right now, I promise you, I do have IBS and anxiety. Generalized or specified? A little column A, a little column B. Knowing my luck, there's a column C somewhere too that I don't even know. I don't even know. And so I met my friends. They have been nothing but great to me. I love all of them so dearly. Don't tell them I said that. Please, on God, do not tell them I said that. Um, I have to keep up I don't do the emotions well enough, okay? I've done this thing now. I've moved so many times. I moved from California to Nevada, and then I moved from Nevada to Idaho, and then I moved from Idaho to Philadelphia. I don't do well with saying goodbyes, clearly. I've had to move so much, and I never get to see my friends again. I don't get to see them that often that I've done this thing where, and I've talked to my friends about this here, and they've changed my opinion on it. I talk to my, when I leave cities, I try not to ever talk to my friends ever again. I try not to really interact with them all that much because it just makes me sad. It makes me sad that I had to say goodbye and that I'll never see these people that invested in my life, and that makes me very sad. And so I try to move on from it by just not communicating. Still following them on social media, but like I can't see people hanging out without me because I'm narcissistic and I'm like, man, if I was there, I know it would be so much better. No, I can't see, it's not even the fear of missing out. It's the sadness of missing out on something that I'll never get to experience again because I'm gone. I'm no longer a part of that triangle. I'm no longer a part of that friend group because geographically speaking, I'm thousands of miles away, right? Um, so the thought of leaving these friends that I've made here in Philadelphia is terrifying to me because they have changed my mind. Now I want to stay invested in their life, and they want to stay invested in my life. And so that's tough. That's very, very tough. And I am completely terrified. I'm scared. I'm scared of several things. First of all, I'm scared that I'm not going to be able to find a place. I'm not going to be able to afford a place. Social media money pays, engineering money pays, but I can't. The thing about me, I've never been financially secure since I moved away, since I moved to college. I've never been financially secure in the sense that, like, I, you know, I don't get me wrong, I'm not financially very smart. I don't make great decisions. I put down so much money on a car because I thought my monthly payment would be small. My credit's great. I put down so much of the money that I had at the time to buy a new car because I was like, oh, I'm moving to the East Coast. Let me get a new car. Um, Turns out, hey, you need money to move. And I moved to Philadelphia with not a ton, and I kept losing money because I didn't know how to prepare for it. And I wasn't getting paid enough for all these new living expenses. And now I got to go do that again in a city that's twice as expensive. I got to go do that in New York, where the eggs are actually $16, if they even have eggs. And my dumbass just started to enjoy eggs again. You know when you get the egg ick? Yeah, I had the egg ick for quite literally a year. And then all of a sudden, I just started eating eggs again. And the thing about me, I have a routine. I'm pretty sure I'm autistic. I've not proven, haven't been tested, have not been tested, but it would not be a surprise. Um, so now I'm a creature of habit, right? I've always been. I have this routine every single day. I make 3 eggs with 3 sausage links, 2 pieces of toast. It's the specific, whatever, the green bag of, it's got like a guy with muscles on the bag. It's like protein toast. I slap a big old thing of butter on there on both of the pieces of toast. I cut the sausage links, each one into 4 pieces, and then I break up the egg yolks. I mix it all together like it's a salad. I eat the mixture of sausage and egg first, and then I eat 1 piece of toast, and then I drink whatever beverage I have, and then I eat the other piece of toast. That's how routine. That's quite literally my routine. That's what I have to do. And somebody asked, "Why are you moving then?" Here's the thing: when I first moved to Philadelphia, I didn't have all the things that I have now. I didn't have I had never lived in a big city before. In the sense that, like, I grew up outside of Fresno, California. I didn't even grow up in Fresno, California. And then I moved to Reno, and that's like a step up. It's a little bit bigger, but it's still a small town. They have like a triple A or a double A baseball team there, but like then I moved to Idaho, to Boise, where my family lives, and I was there for 8 months, and it still wasn't. I still felt closed in. I still felt like I couldn't. There's not resources for me to go and do whatever it was that I wanted to do. And then I moved to Philly. We're gonna double cup sip it real quick. I'm just gonna sip it again. Is what I'm trying to say. I am not Ice Cube. The ice cubes in my drink are melting. That much is aware to me because I can look over and see that the ice cubes that I have less than what I started with. That's, folks, that's called a thermodynamic reaction. Okay, let me do a little science mansplaining to you real quick. Essentially, when I put the ice cubes in there, they were bigger, and the drink, the liquid itself, is melting them because it's pulling heat. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about heat. Um, Cold wants to go. No, wait. Oh god, I don't know. I don't know basic. I don't know basic science. Essentially, the liquid is pulling the energy out of the ice cubes, and it's heating them up, and then because of that, it's melting. I forget what I was talking about. Scary move to New York. Oh no, wait, no. I moved to Philadelphia, and they had all of they have all these things. I walk everywhere now. I walk to the gym. I walk to the grocery store. Everything is within a train ride. It's a 10-minute Uber if I want to get to downtown. I can go to a Phillies game. I can go to an Eagles game. I can go to a Sixers game. I've been to a Flyers game. I've been to a Sixers game. I've been to concerts. I've been to comedy shows. I've been invited to things. I moved here and I had a miso hair in my mouth. That's disgusting. Anyways, oh, I had a little hat on. Nevertheless, I moved to Philadelphia, and I have all these things now. And then I moved here, and because I lived in a bigger city, I had all these extra opportunities. I got invited to events now because they don't really have events in Idaho. They have events in New York. I'm an hour and 30-minute train ride in New York. I'm basically there once a month now, minimum. Um, and so yeah, so I get I get invited to events now. I when I moved to the city, I got myself a manager. We've been able to acquire a couple of brand deals, and so my thought process with moving to New York is, A, I'm going to benefit from it down the line because well, first I can still work my engineering job there. That's the plan. That's always been the plan, is to remain an engineer. I think for as long as I can. until the social media money exponentially pays out more than the engineering job, which at this point it doesn't. But when that happens, it makes sense. But until then, so I'm going to continue being an engineer. I can still work at my job at the company that I work for in New York. I can still do that. I can still have some semblance of a routine Monday through Friday because that's what I need. That's what I require as me, the creature from the lagoon, the creature from the lagoon that is scaly and slimy and disgusting. And so with moving to New York, um, I'll keep my engineering job, thank goodness. And then all of the opportunities that I've had here in Philadelphia are going to be dialed up to 10 because in New York there's events all the time. There's brands there. There's headquarters there for some of these brands. Somebody asked if I wanted to be an actor. The thing is I would have a better opportunity there in New York than anywhere else in the country besides maybe Los Angeles. Um, so and I love Philly. I love everything that it has given me and everything it has provided me, and I love that everything that I've been able to give back to it for the 2 years that I've been here. But I do think it's time for me to try the next level and see what it's like to move to New York and try to graduate into the next thing. Because when I moved here to Philadelphia, it was for my job and I had no idea, I had no expectations that I would meet all of the cool people, all of the people that follow me. I mean, you guys have been nothing but great to me. You guys have quite literally blessed me with one of the best lives I could have ever imagined that I've ever had. I'm pretty sure in a previous life I died in battle. I don't know which one it was. Maybe the Greeks, maybe the Romans. Maybe I don't know, maybe I was fighting in a war. Maybe I was one of the people that built the Egyptian pyramids. I don't know. The point that I'm trying to make here is that I this was never supposed to be something that I would ever consider. This was never something that I thought that I could ever have. And now that I have, I never used to believe in myself, and don't get me wrong, I don't really believe in myself still to this day, but like now I have to use this platform that I have to, you know, navigate different new avenues that I never thought would exist. I have to put myself first, which is something I am a narcissist. I do quite often, but I have to do it for the purpose of this new lease on life that I never thought I had. Um, so it is a bummer. Somebody asked me, "What about my sisters?" This is another difficult uh, question that I have to answer because it's like I do have to do things for me, but also at the same time, I miss my family so much. I FaceTime them every Sunday, every single Sunday. I've never missed it unless I'm gone, physically gone. Then I'll FaceTime them on Monday, but I've never missed a week for 2 years that I've lived here. And even then, I FaceTime them throughout the week, but at Sunday at a minimum. And it sucks to watch it sucks to watch your niece and nephew grow up through a camera. And I have a Snapchat. I'm not going to tell you guys what it is. I only have my family members on Snapchat. It's for the purpose so I can watch my niece and my nephew grow up. Um, and it sucks that I have to do that through an iPhone camera. But every time I'm home, I'm so grateful to be there, and I'm so happy that I get to be around my family. And don't get me wrong, it is such a bummer that it sucks that I have to put myself first because it's not something I love doing, and it feels very selfish. But at the end of the day, it's something that I never, it's something that I believe I can do. I think I am destined for greatness. No, definitely not. But, I'm gonna give it everything I got. Um, and it sucks because there's a lot of people that I love, that I have to not necessarily put to the side, but I have to prioritize myself and my own happiness more than theirs, and that's not something I'm good at. There's something that my friends talk about every now and then that I think that they would agree with. I will often take the short end of the stick if anybody has to, simply because I don't want to see anybody else take it, you know? Whether that is like if there are If there's two beds, if we're staying in a hotel and there's two beds, I'll take the floor so my other two friends can have it alone. That type of thing. All right, this is annoying me. People keep requesting. Um, and so, it sucks that not everybody that I love in my life can, benefit from what it is that I'm doing. Maybe down the line they will, and that's something I have to pursue. Like, what if this turns into something where I would never consider that my friends and family can benefit from what I have, but what if in 1 year from now I have a business and I can employ my friends and my family, or I can, send them money. I can build generational wealth for the purpose of my family and my friends. We've talked about this all the time, me and my friends, where if one of us wins the lottery, our friend group is getting a great portion of that money, because what the hell am I going to do with money? What the hell am I going to do with money if I can't spend it on the people that I love, So it's like, um and so that's a big bummer. My sisters have been very encouraging of me, of me moving. They tell me, like, if this is something that you want to do, you should. This is something that, my middle sister is very adamant on. She keeps telling me, she if she could choose what I did with my life, she would have me go on like a dating show, like The Bachelorette, or Love Island, or what's the other ones? Bachelorette, Love Island, Too Hot to Handle, I think, which is not something I could ever do. I applied at one point, but I don't think I'm destined for that. I don't think that's something I could do. Um, Obviously, I've talked about on here on the podcast before about how I was almost cast on a MILF dating show. Thankfully, that didn't work out. Thankfully, that didn't work out. Um, but yeah, and so the original point is what I'm trying to say. What I've been trying to say is that if this can help, if me moving to New York, if me moving to Philadelphia is any evidence that moving to New York is going to be positive for me, then I'm going to do it. Um, Selfishly, I have to do it. As much as I love Philly, as much as the friends that I've made here, I'll still see them in New York. And New York is a 1.5 hour train ride. I can still come back to see them. I won't have a car, obviously. Um, but you know, it's something I want to make happen, and I'll make it happen. But but yeah. So to originally answer the question, this tangent that I got on was, somebody asked me, "Are you scared to move?" I'm not only scared, I'm terrified, and I'm so excited, and I'm eager, and I'm nervous. I'm financially probably going to be crippled, and that's fine. I'm a big, very adamant on, money comes and goes. I try not to Venmo request people if I can help it, unless it's for like a business expense or something like that, because I live by the mindset of money comes and goes. I'm big on saying, like, if I buy you a beer this time, just buy me the next beer. Don't worry about paying me back. Just get me next time. Just get me next time. Just get me next time. I live by that mentality of, like, if I am so, not stingy. Stingy's not the right word, but like, if I don't curate and instigate future occurrences and hanging out with friends, um, you know, then what's the point of hanging out with them? I always want a reason to see people I love again, my friends, my family. It's something I want to do. And so yeah, to answer your question, I'm terrified of moving to New York. I don't have a place lined up. I'm trying to get a realtor to help me. It's not really the working out. I haven't found a ton of places. Um, Somebody asked me, how am I not doing well if I'm an engineer? Well, first and foremost, engineers, entry level engineers, do not make as much money as you think. Also, when you're trying to establish a savings that was once dwindling and lost, and you're trying to build it back up to what it was when you were living at home and you were working two jobs, it takes a very long time, because living in a city is not cheap. Obviously, I have my car payment, I have my phone payment, I've got, rent, utilities, all this, Wi-Fi, all the expenses of being an adult. I'm not going to try and mansplain that to you, because you probably live on your own or you have those expenses. Um, and yeah, I mean, I'm doing my best to make my savings, but you know, you don't make that much money when you're in the beginning of your career, no matter what you're doing. Um, and somebody said you're moving out for the first time and you're terrified. Like I said, it is terrifying, but I promise you, I think all things are meant to work out in your favor. One thing I'm trying to practice is manifesting, not for stupid, dumb things, for like actual things. Like I'm manifesting to find a place in New York. I'm manifesting a positive future. I'm manifesting that my family's children, my both of my sisters are pregnant right now. I'm manifesting that their babies come out healthy, and I get to see them in September when I'm gonna, fly home to finally see the new kids and celebrate my birthday and my dad's birthday. I'm manifesting, uh, that my friends here in Philly continue to progress and become amazing people like they already are. And, um, I don't want to manifest $50. That's a waste of a manifestation. The universe deserves more than for me to request something so simple. You know, um, somebody asked, is consulting difficult? I Let me tell you something. You can't see it on the camera. You can't tell on the camera. The amount of gray hairs that I have accumulated, I say this joke all the time. It's like a Dyson vacuum at a nursing home. The amount of gray hairs that I'm accumulating, it is quite literally, quite possibly, um, it's scary. I am aging fast. Pretty soon, I'm going to be on the butt of the ageist jokes. People are going to talk about people with gray hairs. You know how bad it is? I haven't seen my cousin in years, right? She cut my hair when I went home for the holidays. The big takeaway, the big takeaway from that haircut, I mentioned, I was like, yeah, you probably noticed I got a lot of gray hairs. And she was like, I didn't want to say anything, but like, are you okay? Consulting is difficult. It's stressful. You're never going to know what you're doing. You're never going to know what you're doing. But if you're a hard worker, you'll be fine. If you're hard, if you're a hard worker, if you're a hard worker, you're diligent and you ask questions, you'll be all right. You'll be all right because you'll figure it out, and then you'll never see a project like that ever again. And then when something else comes up, you'll figure that one out. And that's just kind of what you do. Man, this episode's been all over the place, but we're cooking. Somebody asked me what kind of engineering do I do. I'm an environmental engineer. I got my degree in geological. I talked about this before. I got my degree in geological. I have my engineering training certificate in civil engineering. I work in environmental remediation and site investigation. I use my degree. This is one thing I like saying. I use my degree in my job experience. When I was in college, I worked at several different geology labs, mostly geotechnical labs. But the first one was a metallurgical, which is a fancy word for metals testing. The second one was a mining lab, mining and geotechnical lab, and then the third was a civil land development geotechnical lab. So I apply that experience by some of the projects that I do. We work with earthwork. We do earthwork. We move soil essentially. We dig and haul. We dig, we haul, we lay down. And you have to know the stuff that you're digging and hauling. You have to know the properties of the stuff you're laying down, especially for the purpose of what you're doing. So like, you know, we do a lot of work we do a lot of landfills because in environmental remediation, a lot of landfills, there's a lot of toxic substances. And what happens when somebody wants to develop a landfill? You got to take everything out. You got to make sure the soil and the groundwater is fine. So if you're going to backfill, if you're going to fill all the stuff that you just dug out with material, you can't just like put in sand because then everything you build on is going to crumble. And then you can't just put sand also for the purpose of like, um, if there's rainfall, everything that's in that sand is going to percolate into the groundwater, and it's going to complicate things because then it's a full cycle because then the rainfall comes down and trickles into the groundwater. The groundwater gets pumped out. That groundwater gets pumped out to from a well somewhere. That well goes to like a water treatment facility, and then that water treatment facility, whatever use it has, whether it's drinking water or it's you're watering your lawn, eventually that water is going to go back up into the atmosphere. It's a big cycle because of evaporation. And so that's how I apply my knowledge. I got all my knowledge in college at my job with, working on soils, the properties of soils, all the, hydraulic conductivity, the type of soil, the soil size, all that stuff. And so now the way I apply it is knowing those properties of the soil, we have to build things with soil, whether it's just putting soil on something or taking something off and then putting soil back on, or if we work with groundwater, we do a groundwater treatment system. We have to know the soil with which we're pumping out of. We have to know the contaminants and the properties of the groundwater that's being pumped out. And so, you have to know all these things. So consulting sucks because when I got into this job, I knew I had knowledge, I didn't know how to apply it, and then I also got brought into projects on stuff that I didn't have knowledge in. And so now I have to apply what little knowledge I have and what little knowledge I've picked up on all the projects that I've worked on to apply it on future projects. It's a lot of. Somebody just asked if I have a girlfriend. I just spent 5 minutes explaining engineering concepts. No, I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have a girlfriend. I'm bad at dating. For the fans of the podcast, they know that. They know that very clear, that I'm very bad at dating. So yeah, so that's that part. Can I spill some tea? What can I spill the tea on? I don't really have any tea to spill, unfortunately. I'm not much of a secret guy. So, um biggest family drama? Well, there's not really family drama. Plus, I'm not going to spill my family's drama on this TikTok live and the podcast. And besides, there's not really drama. My family, we all love each other very much. We have a good time. We hang out. We drink every now and then on occasion. And that's that. There's not really any drama. Somebody asked me what my sign is. If I had to assign myself a sign, what I would probably choose is the maybe like the caution sign when you're driving. It just says caution, right? Nothing else. I hate when signs do that. It just says caution. Oh, okay. So what am I supposed to look out for? Everything? That sign should just read anxiety because that's all it is. It's just caution. Yeah, no, I walk around with caution everywhere I go. That's part of the issue, the mental issues that I have. So it's like, yeah, that's the sign I relate most with. I know you're asking for my zodiac sign. I'm not going to give it. You can look it up, not to brag on famous birthdays. Exposing my shit like that. Sorry for cussing. Now I'm stealing other people's clout by just copying what they're saying. So yeah, my sign would just be that I believe it's a yellow diamond. Faint yellow diamond under the left eye. Nobody's gonna get that reference. That's to a comedy album. Um, it just says caution. That's, I would say, my general life sign because I have anxiety and every second is cautionary. Let this be a cautionary tale to you. To A, never get a podcast. B, if you're gonna get a podcast, have something to talk about. C, I'm doing numbers and letters. Like I'm making a bulleted list. Do I like the East Coast or West Coast more? It depends. I love the East Coast. I really do. I didn't think I would when I moved here, and now I love it. Um, but as far as like proximity, East Coast, because everything's close. DC, if I wanted to go to DC, I could be in DC tomorrow. I could be in DC in 2 hours if I wanted to. If I wanted to be in New York, I could be in New York in an hour and a half. Um, California, you can drive from the top to the bottom and still be in California, and you could drive for like 14 hours straight. You're not going to see much when you drive through Central California. Trust me, that's where I was born and raised. You're going to see a whole lot of empty fields, maybe a couple of new developments with stupid names like Terra Viesta, or like, I don't know, Ridge Valley Sunset, or Field Lofts. Okay, that's what you're gonna see when you drive through. There's a lot of developments now. Um, Somebody asked me what my haircut is. Good question. Shave your head. That's all I gotta tell you. Just shave your head. Somebody said Tesoro Viejo. Yeah, I know. When I grew up in Madera, that wasn't a thing when I was there. There was just orchards. There was just almond orchards everywhere. I lived across the street from the vineyard, if you know where that is. That's on Road 36. That's on Road 36. I'm pretty sure that's gone. So, somebody just told me my face is so capable for a movie. Yeah, a horror movie where I'm the villain wearing a mask. What's the mask? Oh, wait, it's just my face. Last kiss. I know what you're trying to ask. Who was my last kiss or what was my last kiss? I'm actually going to say if I could have a last kiss, what it would be, who it would be with, how it would be. And I'm going to do a live, people. Obviously, if it's a last kiss, I can't kiss somebody that's dead. That's a mental health issue. That's a strange thing to do. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. My last kiss. Here's how I want my last kiss to be. Here's how I would want it to be. Okay. I'm laying down in a twin bed in like maybe like a Marriott Bonvoy or a Holiday Inn, right? Okay, I'm laying down in a twin bed in a hotel. What was supposed to happen was I'm definitely dying of something, right? I've got a condition, you know, I got a condition, and the only prescription is a couple of beers. Is a couple of beers. So I've got a condition. I'm dying. Instead of making it to the hospital, I say, you know what, guys, let's just go to a Holiday Inn. Just lay me down on a bed of roses. You guys know the song. Instead of sink me in a river, just lay me down on the twin mattress. The unwashed, the disgusting, put a black light to it, and it's gonna look like a Picasso painting, something that's like a mosaic. A twin bed in a Holiday Inn, right? I want there to be a continental breakfast because obviously this is going to be late at night, right? So the people that are there with me, I want them to be there with me. And then they're going to stay the night. And then in the morning, they get to enjoy the free continental breakfast. But I'm already gone, right? I'm already gone at this point. They're going to have to bond over this traumatic experience over the hotel waffle machine. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's the watery eggs, the watery, spongy eggs. The somehow delightful and crispy waffle comes out that way every time. It's got that beeper timer on it. Once it hits that 3-minute mark and it pierces your ears, that's the continental breakfast that I want my friends and family, my loved ones, to enjoy the morning after, right? Okay. And so I want it to be at a Holiday Inn, okay? Now, people are asking about the kiss. Trust me, I haven't forgot. Okay. And neither will anybody else. This is going to be a televised event. I want cameras everywhere. I want one Super 8 camera and I want one IMAX camera. So you can see. You can see every angle. You can see how disgusting and nasty my lips look in high definition. I want Christopher Nolan behind it directing. He's saying, hey, you're doing a great job. You're just laying on the bed because obviously you're dying of some nefarious disease. Something disgusting. And Christopher Nolan is giving me compliments. Maybe this is directed by Wes Anderson. maybe maybe my last kiss is maybe my last kiss is directed by Wes Anderson. And there's a general light tone to it, and there's like bright yellow lights and fun music. Ralph Fiennes is in it. I don't know. Owen Wilson's in it. He's in a ton of Wes Anderson movies. Okay? And so I'm laying in this bed. We're getting to the kiss, I promise. We're getting to the kiss. I'm laying in this bed, okay, in this dirty, disgusting twin mattress in a Holiday Inn. Let's do it in like maybe Springfield, Illinois. All right? Let's do it in Springfield, Illinois. I'm pretty sure that's the capital of Illinois. I've never been there. I would imagine they have this Holiday Inn that I'm referencing. Okay? Let's do it in Springfield, Illinois. It's kind of in the middle of the country, so like if parties need to get there, parties can get there, right? Everybody's got to travel the same distance is what I'm trying to get at. And so I'm in this dirty hotel, this dirty Holiday Inn with a continental breakfast in Springfield, Illinois. Okay. Somebody said a flyover state. I'm in a flyover state. Okay. And so who do I want walking in to kiss me on the lips? In comes walking, right? In comes walking slowly, but confidently, like they know what they have to do. Okay. In comes walking Betty White. Okay. In comes walking Betty White. She gives a couple of words, maybe a couple of words, right? In comes walking Betty White. And I'll tell you guys why this is a full circle moment for her. For me, actually. In my senior yearbook, or maybe it was like a pamphlet for senior graduation. Oh my God, is Betty White dead? Oh no. Okay, okay. Scratch that. Betty White is not walking in, okay? It was somebody wearing a Betty White costume. Tight beat of, the monkey that was on SpongeBob. He like zipped out and he was Patrick, and then he zipped out again and he was the monkey. So somebody is in a zippable Betty White costume. All right, who it is? I'll disclose. I will disclose that information right now. Okay. I'm trying to come up with somebody funny, but who's funnier than Betty White? Um, um, I need help, guys. I need help. Um, Reba? No. Reba's not walking in. Let's be honest here. Reba's not walking in. Okay. Oh, here's who walks in. Okay. Here's who walks in. It's it's Jojo Siwa, right? Jojo Siwa walks in. Zipped up, zipped up in a Betty White costume. Okay. I actually let's look up how old Jojo Siwa, because she's 21 years old. Okay, so we're in the clear. Jojo Siwa agrees to do it because she is fame hungry. We know this. We know this. She is fame hungry. And she zips down her Betty White costume. Okay, so Betty White folds like this on both sides with the zipper noise. You know, out pops Jojo Siwa wearing the makeup she had on when she said dream guest on her podcast, right? Oh, oh. So she pops out wearing the makeup when she said, dream guest on my podcast. And then so she comes down to me because I'm laying on the bed. Obviously, my eyes aren't open. I'm practically on, hell's doorstep. I'm knocking on the door. Okay, I'm knocking on the door and I'm saying trick or treat. Whether it's a trick or whether it's a treat, it's not up to me. Those are for powers that be, higher powers that be. Okay, and and so, and so Jojo Siwa leans down and in my ear that I can't even hear out of because I'm also deaf in this scenario. My capabilities for hearing are gone. Okay? She whispers in my ear that cannot hear. She says, "Dream guest on my podcast? You?" And then all of a sudden, I haven't smiled in weeks, right? Because I am just really not doing well. Okay, I haven't smiled in weeks. I'm in this flyover state, Springfield, Ohio, Springfield, Illinois, Holiday Inn. Jojo Siwa is my last kiss, who was dressed as Betty White, but now she's wearing her Dream Guest on my podcast makeup. Um, and then she says that, plants a little smooch. Nothing crazy, just like half a second, just a little smooch, right? I'm not talking like Amy Adams, Ryan Gosling in The Notebook. Nothing disgusting like that. Just a little peck. Just a little peck. And then a little smile at the corner of my lips. Just, and I'm gone. That's it. That's it. And that's it. People are telling me I referenced the wrong Adams. It was Rachel McAdams in The Notebook. Of everything I just said in that scenario, That's all you got out of it, was that I misreferenced the actress that is in The Notebook. Or what if I got a kiss from the lady that says the Krispy Kreme? Is it crispy? That would be funny. That would also be funny. It is coming to my attention now. People are showing me that Jojo Siwa likes women. I did not know that, to be honest with you. I don't follow Jojo Siwa. I don't follow her life. What's going on? Um, so that would be a bit complicated. Uh, so, anyways, but yeah, I got about 5 minutes left here. Any other questions, guys? Um, why do I always sound congested? I'm gonna let you in on a little secret here, and here's why I could never be a model. My septum is deviated. It is deviated in the sense that, like, if I were to pick my nose on both sides, okay, both sides, I fear that I would not even be able to get my finger into the left nostril, and then the right one. There's so much real estate. There's so much real estate. So my left nostril, this one, the tiniest little crevice. Okay, I cannot breathe from it. Cannot. Actually, matter of fact, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this into the microphone, so this might sound disgusting. Here's my left nostril for reference. Okay, you guys heard that. Left nostril. Okay, it sounds like a chewed up toy. It sounds like a chewed up dog toy that has had years of love from, like, maybe a golden retriever. Okay, very very bitey dog, but not bitey in the sense that it's mean or rude, but bitey enough that you can tell that that toy has seen better days. Now let me, my right side's congested too, but now let me do my right side. Okay, can you hear the difference? That's the right nostril. Here's the left one. You can tell the difference. What percentage is close? I don't know, but I can tell you this much: it's Blockbuster. It's Blockbuster versus Netflix. One is closed for good, closed forever. It would need a Hail Mary to come back, and then the other, doing fine. Matter of fact, thriving. Thriving, even. We're coming up on the end here, folks. Somebody told me I'm an instrument. I'm an instrument of love. That's what I am. Somebody asked me if I have sleep apnea. No, I don't. Unfortunately, I'm not. This podcast is now coming to an end, folks. If you made it this far, thank you so much. I cooked on this episode. I'm probably going to do more live podcasts. Let me know in the comments if you guys would like live, if you guys would like me to do live comments or live podcasts. Um, Also, if you guys want to be featured in Sips and Situationships, which is where the episodes I do about once a month, where I give relationship advice, send me an email to happierpod@gmail.com. Check out the Instagram that I have at happierpod. I post clips there. I post every Wednesday. I post a I post a new podcast episode every Wednesday. For those of you who know, I do dating advice. I do breakup advice. I give bad dating stories. So if you guys want to get your story featured, you want to ask me advice for breakups, relationships, whatever, email happierpod@gmail.com. I love you all. Thank you so much. If you have made it this far, I will continue posting on the podcast. Unfortunately, I love yapping. This has unlocked something narcissistic in my soul where I loved naturally. Somebody is calling me right at the end here. This will be featured on the podcast. Uh, hey, if you had 23 bad hours today, all right, if you had 23 bad hours today, I hope the hour you spent with me is a happier hour. I love you all. Good night.